Her name, Leia, a former classmate from Immaculate Heart High School. She wasn't some fame-hungry stranger looking to cash in. Nope, her account was private until that very day. But when she finally spoke up, the floodgates of curiosity burst wide open. In the clip, Leia smiled nervously into the camera before saying, "I've held this in for years." But seeing Meghan pretend she's always been this humble, relatable person. Yeah, no, that's not the Meghan I knew. And just like that, chaos was born.
Nice.
Now, we were just saying how we never have a moment to catch up.
Within hours, the video racked up millions of views. The comments were brutal. People dissected every word, every facial expression, every pause. But what really got everyone talking were the claims she made next. Claims that painted a picture of young Meghan as someone far more calculated, ambitious, and as one viral commenter put it, Hollywood before Hollywood even came calling. According to Leia, Meghan wasn't the quiet, overlooked girl she often described herself as in interviews. She was allegedly the opposite. Driven, strategic, always performing. She knew how to charm teachers, how to pick the right friends, how to play innocent when it suited her. Leia said she used to say she'd marry rich, not for love, but because she was meant for something bigger. We thought she was joking. I guess she wasn't. Boom. That one line hit like a thunderclap. Because it didn't just sound like teenage bravado, it sounded like the prelude to a royal reality. And once social media got hold of it, the theories exploded. See you. We'll see you upstairs. Reddit threads popped up overnight with titles like, "So Meghan's been planning this since high school, and her ex-friend just confirmed what we all suspected." Twitter or X, depending on which side of the rebrand you're on, lit up with hashtags like #highschoolmeghan and #planper. But while the internet was busy having its fun back in Montecito, things were not so funny. According to insiders, Prince Harry was furious. Reports claimed he stormed out of the couple's home office after seeing the clip go viral. He felt blindsided. One source said he didn't understand why people from Meghan's past keep coming out of nowhere to expose her. He's tired of it. It's like every few months there's another friend, another secret, another story. Harry's frustration wasn't just about the gossip. It was about the pattern. Every time Meghan tried to rebuild her image, another ghost from her past seemed to emerge. First an old friend, then a half-sister, now someone from her teenage years. And this time, the timing couldn't have been worse because just days earlier, Meghan had been on the cover of a major lifestyle magazine, proudly talking about her journey of growth and authenticity. The headline, Meghan Markle, from girl next door to global humanitarian.
But what's so interesting about it is that it is so much worse than we could reasonably have expected.
Now that narrative was being shredded by a 2-minute TikTok. Even worse, the clip didn't stay contained to the internet. Major outlets, the Daily Mail, Page 6, The Mirror, jumped on it. Then American entertainment shows like Entertainment Tonight and Inside Edition picked it up too, replaying snippets with dramatic voiceovers. And as the clip gained traction, Leia did something no one expected. She posted a follow-up. This time, she doubled down. She claimed Meghan used to brag about knowing how to get what she wants, and that she even practiced TV interview answers in front of her friends long before she ever landed her first acting role. Even back then, Leia said she had this energy like she was rehearsing for the life she thought she deserved. We laughed about it then. Now, I'm not so sure. That quote alone became the headline of the week, which is securely tucked away on a private gated street. And for Meghan, it was a PR disaster waiting to explode. Her team scrambled to contain it. They allegedly sent quiet warnings to news outlets labeling Leia's story as unverified gossip. But that only fueled the fire because once people heard that Meghan's camp was trying to silence someone, the conspiracy machine kicked into overdrive. And where was Meghan during all of this? Hiding out apparently, or as one insider put it, in a state of disbelief. She thought her past was behind her, said a Hollywood source, but it keeps finding her. She's realizing that fame isn't just about building your image. It's about surviving your old one. Meanwhile, Harry's patience wore thinner by the hour.
I put myself at risk for that, but I will continue on with a life of public service.
It became a cultural battlefield, one part gossip, one part morality play. But for Meghan and Harry, it was far more personal because if those receipts turned out to be real, even mildly embarrassing, they could derail every PR project Meghan had lined up. Her upcoming podcast, her new lifestyle brand, even her rumored Netflix documentary could all take a hit. She built her empire on relatability, on being the every woman who made it. If the world suddenly believed that image was an act from day one, the illusion could shatter completely. And that's where the story gets really interesting, because sources close to the Sussex circle hinted that Leia wasn't the only one talking. Apparently, her video had emboldened others. A few people who'd known Meghan during her early Hollywood grind or even during her brief first marriage. Some were already reaching out to media outlets, promising context about who Meghan was before she met Prince Harry. The timing was eerie, almost like a coordinated avalanche.
Becoming more isolated, winding up the royal family, and people are beginning to turn off and switch off from them.
And to Harry, it felt like betrayal from all sides. He reportedly snapped at one advisor, shouting, "Why do they keep coming for her? Why won't they just stop?" But the answer, as one royal watcher put it, was simple. When you build your fame on your story, the world feels entitled to it. That's the curse of modern royalty. Your narrative doesn't belong to you anymore. And as the Sussexes were about to learn, once the internet turns your past into a weapon, there's no putting it back in the box. But the real shocker, that was still to come. Because when the full story behind Leia's connection to Meghan finally came out, it didn't just reveal a friendship gone sour, it hinted at something much deeper, much more dangerous, and far more personal. And when that truth surfaced, Meghan's reaction and Harry's would send shock waves through their entire empire. The clip spread like wildfire. By morning, it wasn't just trending, it was everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. Hashtags like #Meghan before Harry and #ThirlRachel started climbing the charts, while gossip channels and royal analysts began dissecting every frame like it was the Zapruder film. But what made this clip explode wasn't just the nostalgia, it was what came after. Because just hours later, the same teen friend who posted it decided to double down. She went live, and in that live stream, she didn't hold back. "I don't hate Meghan," she began, looking directly at the camera. But people need to know that the woman the world sees today, the Duchess, the humanitarian, the activist, that's not the girl we grew up with. She wasn't kind to everyone. She wasn't the outcast the tabloids made her out to be. She wanted power. She chased it. Boom. That was the sound of social media detonating. Every word she spoke poured gasoline on a fire Meghan had spent years trying to put out. She claimed Meghan used to brag about how she'd never settle for less than royalty and that she had plans to make her mark no matter who she had to charm. It wasn't just embarrassing. It was damning. Royal reporters immediately jumped on it, connecting dots Meghan had long tried to blur. Headlines began to flood in. Old friend claims Meghan's ambition was scripted from the start. Teen footage raises questions about Duchess's past persona. Was Meghan always planning her royal move? And while the world was talking, Harry was fuming. According to palace insiders, Harry completely lost it when he saw the live stream. He reportedly stormed into Meghan's office, demanding to know who this friend was and why she still had access to personal footage. Meghan, meanwhile, was in full-blown crisis mode, calling PR teams, trying to suppress reposts, even reaching out to lawyers to threaten defamation suits. But it was too late. The genie was out of the bottle. What made it worse was the timing. The couple had just been planning a major media appearance, something meant to redefine their image after a series of setbacks. Meghan's as ever brand had already taken hits from critics calling it performative and overpriced. And Harry's latest project with Netflix hadn't exactly been a rating success. They needed a win. Instead, they got this, a viral storm that reignited every old controversy they thought they'd buried. But here's where things took a darker turn. A few internet sleuths began digging into the teen friend's background, only to find she'd been quietly followed by one of the palace-affiliated PR firms, the kind known for subtle information leaks and counternarratives. Suddenly, conspiracy theories started flying. Was this clip an accident, or was it part of something bigger? Because, let's be honest, the timing was too perfect. Just days before the viral video, reports had surfaced about King Charles re-examining the Sussex children's royal status, possibly tightening restrictions around their future titles. Combine that with William's rumored involvement in reinforcing royal lineage protections, and suddenly Meghan's image crisis looked less like a coincidence and more like a tactical takedown. Behind closed doors, Meghan was said to be spiraling. Sources close to the couple told tabloids she barely slept that week, spending hours on calls with Hollywood contacts and media allies, trying to figure out how to flip the story. She even reached out to an old talk show host, reportedly hoping for a sympathetic sit-down interview to tell her side. But the host team turned her down, fearing backlash from royal supporters. That's when Meghan decided to take matters into her own hands. In a move that stunned even her closest advisors, Meghan recorded a short emotional video from her Montecito home, tears in her eyes, speaking about how hurtful it is to see people twist your past for attention. She ended with a line that was clearly meant to sound powerful. If you spend your life trying to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be, you'll never be free enough to be who you really are. But instead of winning hearts, it backfired spectacularly. Viewers called it manipulative, overacted, and a PR stunt gone wrong. The clip racked up millions of views, but the comments were brutal. "She's acting again," one wrote. "It's always tears when she's losing control." Another said, "No one's twisting your past. They're just showing it." Even late-night hosts began poking fun. One joked, "Meghan Markle says she's hurt by people twisting her past. But don't worry, she's already written a Netflix series about it." And then came the knockout punch. The teen friend, now with a rapidly growing following, posted again, but this time she included screenshot old messages, alleged DMs from years ago where Meghan reportedly reached out after becoming famous, saying things like, "We should catch up soon, but maybe keep things quiet for now." The press can twist anything. Whether real or not, the damage was nuclear. The internet took it as gospel. Meanwhile, Harry was reportedly furious beyond words. One insider described him as ready to pack up and disappear again. His frustration wasn't just about the clip, it was about what it represented. He had given up his family, his country, and his royal standing to protect Meghan from this very kind of media circus. And now, no matter how hard he tried, it just wouldn't stop. Friends close to the couple say that for the first time, Harry began questioning why their scandals kept resurfacing and whether it was something deeper than bad luck. As one palace aide put it, Harry's waking up to the realization that every time they try to control the narrative, it blows up in their faces. Maybe it's not the press, maybe it's the truth catching up. And while the couple tried to weather the chaos, Buckingham Palace remained completely silent. No statements, no leaks, nothing. Just cold, strategic quiet, which in royal terms speaks volumes. Because sometimes silence isn't ignorance, it's dominance. By the end of that week, Meghan's team reportedly started reaching out to crisis management firms in Los Angeles and London. Some declined, fearing they couldn't fix the situation without reopening old wounds. Others agreed for a hefty fee, but warned that any further emotional content from Meghan could make things worse. So she did what she always does when the world feels too loud. She disappeared. No paparazzi shots, no Instagram posts, no public appearance. She emerged with something that shocked everyone. An announcement, a teaser for a new project, an upcoming documentary exploring the truth about fame, friendship, and what it means to be misunderstood. It didn't mention the viral clip. It didn't name names, but everyone knew exactly what it was about. And that's when royal insiders realized Meghan wasn't retreating. She was reloading. But this time, the world wasn't as eager to listen. Because after years of dramatic revelations, sympathy pleas, and image reboots, the public had finally learned to question the performance. And whether or not the teen friends clip was fair, one thing was certain. It cracked open a version of Meghan Markle that the palace had always hinted existed and that Harry, for all his loyalty, could no longer ignore. The royal narrative was shifting again, but this time not in their favor. And as one British columnist perfectly summed it up, you can run from the crown, but you can't outrun the truth.
I saw
You can run from the crown, but you can't outrun the truth.
I saw these